call to keep these guys out there for the losers, you know, after you lost that game, or were they pretty receptive to everything?
Yeah, I think it's a competitive group, and like Jake said, a lot of older guys, and as I made the statement earlier, I challenge these guys all the time about just toughness and the curveballs of life, and it's a frustrating game. It's a hard game, and so you got to be able to deal with failure. And that's I was teasing Trey. He didn't, was it Linus the character on Charlie Brown? We kind of pick on hitters, or if you act like Linus, like you drag your towel behind you, you look kind of sad and mopey. So this is something we challenge our players with, and so I mean they go through it, and I just tried to first thing was talk about the 07 team that they lost in the 10-10 game, talk about all the teams that do it, the 16 regional sites and how many number one seeds lost in the 10-10 game. I read off about 5 or 6 schools, and that every year, somebody's going to come through losing that 1-0 game, and why can't it be us? And so Lucas Dunn ran into Isaiah House that night at dinner, and Isaiah was part of the 07 team, and Lucas sent me a long text, so I sent the text to Coach Vrabel. Coach Vrabel sends it out to the whole team, so I wanted to share that moment that Lucas had with a player from the 07 team, and just making sure guys believe. I mean, you can do a lot of things with belief.
Dan, you talked about Linus and you joke a little bit, but to be in that situation, I don't know if you ever were you've been as a player, now as a coach, to see it. How difficult is that for Trey to rebound and then to execute upon like that?
It is. It's not easy. I mean, as a coach and a parent, you don't want him to feel like he's responsible. Yeah, you can see the body language. It's hard. I mean, like I said, hopefully he'll learn from that. And, but when we talk about this game, it's what makes it a great game. You usually get a chance to redeem yourself. Usually, not all the time, but it's amazing how many times you get a chance to redeem yourself. So, he had a good bunt, quality at bat. Of course, he runs the bases, puts a lot of pressure, and let's not forget he was a big part of the rally to score. It didn't look like we were going to score, and Zeke, has a great at bat, and so we run Trey, and Trey puts a lot of pressure on you. The ball goes to the backstop, and so now you got pitched to a Zach Britton, with a guy like Trey Leonard on base. So I mean, Trey did a lot to help us get that rally going, and score those 2 runs in that inning. So, and then it was obviously a part of the last run.
A couple things that get maybe lost in the shuffle: the pinch hit, and then the throw from Henry at that situation, and the gun down the leadoff guy.
That's right. I met with Zeke and Henry before the game today, and we've kind of had the 2-headed monster with those 2 as our catchers, and told Zeke he was going to start because Bennett was starting, and Zeke usually catches Nick, and but just gave Zeke the heads up. Obviously we could catch Henry today too, in a situation if we had the pinch hit or usually pinch run. As good as Zeke is, he's not the fleetest of foot, and just as a catcher, and so he knows we got a great base stealer in Trey, and so we kind of prepared those guys that was going to happen. But you look back at the game, there's a lot. I mean, Jared Poland, hasn't pitched, hurt his hand at Notre Dame on Derby weekend, and hasn't pitched since then. And to throw a big inning like that in this game, and Bennett to bounce back and give us just that quality start. Hoeing, what was that, 5 innings? Yeah, there's a lot of guys that kind of you forget unless you really think about the entire game, and that's what I always tell kids. I mean, I get it for the media and in your world, you remember the play that sticks out. I got game notes from every game, and I got 6-8 notes that we show on video, and I teach the kids about, because I get it. Some people are just going to remember a certain play. I'm going to show you the play in the 2nd, the play in the 5th, the play in the 7th, that those could have just as much of an impact on the game as to the plays everybody remembers. So it's just, I enjoy teaching the game throughout the season, and So you don't ever want kids to live and die off of one play.
Coach, Jake hit on it. Like, you guys have a pretty experienced team, pretty old team. Alex, one of the younger guys. What makes him so, I guess I don't want to say made for that spot, but so calm in a moment like that in the bottom of the ninth inning?
I think, and Tim did the story on Alex a few weeks ago, just about, we talked about how mature and professional, his dad played professional basketball, and, Alex just seemed like we brought in a lot of talented kids. I think it was the third-ranked recruiting class in the country. And, but, it's a big adjustment, for freshmen. And Alex just seemed very businesslike, never got too high, never got too low. And usually that's it's that wide range where younger kids are just used to the high and they're not used to the lows. They don't fail before they get here. And I know when Tim did the story, I think Alex struck out like 4 times the night before, but I didn't even notice. I think that's an impressive thing. I always challenge our kids, if your mom showed up in the 3rd inning and she looked out on the field, can she tell that you're 0 for 2 already or that you're 2 for 2? And a lot of kids you can tell. The great ones, the professional ones, the mature ones, you can't tell, And so I didn't realize it that night when I spoke to Tim the next day that, he struck out 4 times or whatever in a game. He didn't make a big deal about it. That's just part of this game, man. This is going to happen. And so putting him in the middle of the lineup since we've done that, it's really stretched us out, made us a pretty complete lineup.
Give any thought to Trey stealing home there?
No. I mean, we're not afraid to steal home. We've done it this year, but no, I didn't. No, not in that situation.
Dane, you talked earlier in the week about postseason crowds and kind of a different weekend, having an extra game. What did you think today? I mean, the 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, and it was pretty jacked up.
I told Sean on the post-game radio, man, I was impressed. I don't want to make it sound like I doubted our fans, but I get it, man. They got lives, they've got families, they've got jobs, they've got responsibilities, and you don't find out till Sunday night, or some people might not even have found out till this morning that we're playing at 1 o'clock. Because even when we left here last night, it was kind of up in the air. Maybe they'll move the game time, and like I wanted to make sure our fans knew we put in 6 o'clock on Monday night. I would never put in 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon. We put in 6, and that's what we've played in the past. We've played a couple of Monday night games here in the regionals, but they moved it. TV moved it to 1, and I'm grateful for TV. Don't get me wrong, but I just thought, oh man, 1 o'clock, and that was a good showing today. Like I said, as a coach, I said it before the regional, and I'm even more proud of our fan base after.
Coach, I know you don't know who you're going to play in the Super Regional yet, but just how do you, from your perspective as a coach, how do you move on to the Super Regional now?
It's all about preparation. That's why I love this time of the year where we just get to practice, and you got to be smart. Coming out of the conference tournament, we were in a different place with a different amount of time. Now here we are Monday afternoon, and not knowing if we're playing Friday or Saturday yet. So just be smart. Just got to have a balance of each team is different, and how do you keep them going? How do you keep them on their edge and keep them sharp?
2 more questions.
What did you say to Trey after the year?
I just put my arm around him, just let him know, hey, this, as I said, let's not live and die off of one play. It was a tough play. It was a sinking. I think outfielders know the toughest ball is the line drive right at them, and probably for a center fielder, that's the toughest play. Now, is he going to say he should have caught it? Yeah, and I don't blame him. I mean, all outfielders and center fielders in our program should say that they're going to catch that ball, but that is the toughest play, the one right at them, because like he said, he couldn't tell how hard it was hitting. He didn't realize it was sinking as much as it did, and so I just tried to calm him down and remind him that he was in the 2-hole, and you can help us, just help the team, make this about the team. I think that's what this guy this group does a great job of. I think the more you make it about others, if you listen to Dr. Elko's Monday Morning Cup this morning, and if anybody listened to it, you should go on his website. It was all about serving others. It was all about, when you make it about others, how much more enjoyable life is. And that's why I try to get these kids to just continue to make it about each other. If you make it about yourself, man, then you have the highs and the lows, and that's just not a fun world to live in. It's a lot more enjoyable when you're doing it for each other.
One more.
What do you think about the support that the players, the fans, and social media has for Michael McAveen while he's serving his suspension?
Well, I'm not on social media, as my regulars know here, but I'm assuming that they're supporting him. And I saw that sign on the bridge. Was it free Mike or something? I didn't notice it till a player pointed it out to me. I think it's great. I think our fan base should love our kids, even when they make mistakes. I think we have to understand. I get it. The media, I get it. Sometimes, they could be a little hard. But as we talk about being professional, they're not professionals. They're amateurs. They're in college. And what I've learned in college, I did it myself. I still do it today. Competition brings out the very best and the very worst in people. And you have to understand that. We're not choir boys here. We have our best. Man, in the competitive battle, we have our worst. And that's just part of it. That's what makes athletics so fun, but also so challenging. And, if I could, though, since we're wrapping up here, I definitely want to thank Alex Parker and Coach Ron Nischwitz. Thank you for, these guys work long hours, and they get a lot thrown at them to run these regionals, and there's a lot of dynamics to it. Conference calls all weeks and trying to get everything online. So I always appreciate these guys that take time out of their lives to support NCAA college baseball. Of course, our very own Tuto, Danny Placencia. You talk about putting in a lot of work. We can't run these great events without him. And then I got to give just a couple shout outs to my family. My younger brother Alan and his beautiful wife Julia had a son last week, Ryan Joseph, and 2 years ago we were in Omaha and they had their daughter. So there's something about they like to have kids while we're in the postseason. But I want to dedicate this weekend to Scott Strong. Scott's a family member who passed away yesterday, and Scott and his wife and kids would have been here if he weren't in the hospital. And he never missed a regional. He never missed those big rivalry games. He never missed big Sunday games. And I'm just praying with a name like Strong that Kyle and Matt and Renee and that family is strong, because it was sad not having Scott here this weekend. And I just want to make sure I dedicate this weekend to him, because he was missed.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.